Hey, good morning. We're ready to head into the city here after I get my seat sorted out from the little woman here. Oh, okay, we're off to drop off the choppers. Oh, is it bright? I've got two computers in the back that I hope I'm not going to bring home, and I got to see if I can flog them off. Oh, gotta watch out for speed bumps here. There we go. Someone took the signs from there already. We're going to have to be vigilant on the road today. And I got to get, where I got to go today is away out the hand wheel. Oh good, the wife left some gas in the car from when I filled it up the other day. I forgot to bring some gloves. There we go. Holy. So the new computer's working pretty good. The only thing is, making videos, what I did yesterday was I uploaded the short little video that you're watching before this one to see what I can do after it gets into YouTube. So I used the YouTube editor, went in there, and there wasn't a lot I could do, to tell you the truth. I thought I could add a title card in the beginning. No. I thought I could do a bunch of other little things. No. So I tried Microsoft Photo. They have a way of doing making videos, and I could add some little special effects, a title page. No, I could soup it up a little bit better than what it is. But it's cold in here. What's the temperature at here? Let's turn it up first. Oh, good. Granny wasn't in here and fricked up the buttons on me. All right. There we go. We'll get some heat going now. Birch. There we are. Old Eric's building away there at his house. Man, that guy works hard. So, wonder how this fella's failing today. I haven't heard nothing from him. There we go. Holy man, oh man. We got to get going here. We got places to go to today. Drop off the teeth, see if I can get rid of the computers, get some shopping done, get the doctor's appointment. I got all day to do this stuff. I had banana and milk with a little bit of brown sugar. Actually, it was quite a bit, but I didn't put the sugar on, so I'm not complaining. This morning for breakfast. That banana's got to do me 4 more hours till lunchtime. And then I'll, there's no friggin' Skittles in here. Oh well, that's just the way she is. This is a nasty bugger. There we are. And we need the, as soon as the frost gets out of this ground, it's -8 out there. I should have brought some gloves though, but oh well. So it's been a bit difficult, we'll say, to get back into making a steady stream of videos when I can't go anywhere, and I'm kind of stuck to the house. And I don't want to be struggling walking through this crusty snow you see, dragging a dog along until the snow's gone. Oh, back up, bang! There's a bumpy Bobby. Watch out. So, Windows 11, this is what my findings are. The desktop has dramatically changed. And Windows is constantly Honda. Who owns the Honda? Not sure. Not sure at all. So the desktop has changed dramatically, and what I ended up doing was this. On the taskbar itself is in the middle now. It doesn't go over to the far left. You can make it to the left if you want. I don't think there's an option to jam it into the right, but that's not what you want to do here anyway. So, programs that are open, there's a thing called a widget that opens up on the left. There's an edge that opens up on the right. And I was doing really good with avoiding the bulk of the news. You know, of course, you know, on the old system, Windows 10, all I ever used was Google, and I avoided looking at most of the maps, or not maps, news. Because you see the odd piece in Facebook, you see, you know, that kind of thing. What little Twitter and I do, or Instagram. I've got TikTok, but I don't do anything with that. I don't even watch the videos. It's just kind of like a calling card with well-endowed young girls flaunting their boobs. So I don't bother wasting much time with that. It's kind of like being in a candy store with handcuffs. So anyway, I don't have much use for the Windows Edge because it jams yourself all over to the left side of the screen. And when you put the widget up, it forces you back into the middle. It's just a kerfuffle, is what it is. So I managed to settle it down quite a bit. And what I ended up doing was copying all my passwords and all my websites and merging them into Microsoft Edge, or Internet Explorer is what I used to call it. They just come up with another name for whatever reason. Oh, there's the one there, okay. There should be maybe just one left after this. So, I can tell that the computer is a little bit faster, but I won't be able to tell how fast it is. I mean, it's a lot faster, but I won't be able to tell how fast it really is until I start processing videos like this. And I need to get a hard drive from the computer that I threw two computers in the back that I'll see if I can get rid of. Nobody wants this old junk, and I don't know what the hell to do with it. I'll probably end up dragging this crap back home until I can find somebody that can actually make use of it. I could, but I can't afford to pay and fix up those computers. That's why the second computer in there, I never even turned it on but once when I got here, and that was because of there was a fan going in it. Now to find these old parts, these old fans or whatnot, it's not so simple. And my last computer that I got in the back here, the Rampage motherboard one, it takes some oddball sizes or whatever that goes with the thing. So, you know, just get rid of it. I'll stick with the Dell. And the only disappointing thing about the Dell is the way I could put a second hard drive into it, but they didn't make the cage with any screws to go in it. So I'd have to go buy some screws, apparently. And then I can't find the wires to plug in another hard drive, or this whole thing would have been really simple. Okay, let's get going here. I'm going to have to hustle this up a little bit here today. Oh, we got a school down here. I got to slow down for that. So when I put the videos together, my camera here takes about an 8-minute clip, we'll call it, and then it automatically starts the next clip, and it'll keep going until the memory's filled up on the card. And there's quite a bit of memory on those cards. They're like 60 GB or something like that. They're pretty fair size. I'd have to take one out and look at it to figure out what it is. But what the software does that this old Windows movie player does, it allows me to throw all the clips in there into the software at once. Excuse me. And by doing that, it allows me to, the software stitches it all together into one seamless video, even though when you look at the program, it's got individual clips in there. So and it's happened before, the camera records them with a different time, and when you pull all the videos in, sometimes it gets them out of order, so I have to go through the whole movie, or the video, or whatever you want to call it, from the beginning to the end where the stitches is, and to make sure that they're in sequence. Because I've done it before, not realizing it. Then I start looking at the video, and I'll be driving down this road here, going this direction, and the next shot has got me miles away from here doing something entirely different. And I stripped all the old videos off. Here's all the signs. Look at this. Ooh, watch out for that. pros of living in the country out here. So, all in all, with making these videos, I could get and I have downloaded before in the past, the fancy software, you know, like you can play with the audio, you can do this, you can do that with it, but it's just too freaking confusing, and it just, if I'm going to put up a video, I got to be able to do it. Well, here's the sequence of events. This video here will be multiple clips. When I get home, I plug it in to my computer and I move all those files off into a folder on the computer. Now, the way I do my folders on the computer is I do it by year and I do a folder by a month. So everything that's done that month, or this month of March, ends up in a folder so that when I look at it through the directory, we'll call it, in the file manager, everything that's got to do with that month, all the clips, everything is in there. And what I do is, after I make the movie and I title it, and it's all ready then to go upload, I get the download or the upload going into YouTube, and then I can, after I know that everything's okay, I delete the old files. Actually, I'll do that the next day when I start the next video, and I empty the folder. But this is all changed now. Microsoft, in their wisdom, has come along and they said, "Oh, you got to do it like this now." Instead of just slowly building on their interface, they think everybody just wants to go through this massive learning curve for a couple of months. I could imagine the IT guys at work and all these numpties that have to figure it out on their own with very limited computer skills. They're not, and don't get me wrong, where I used to work, these guys were no dumb bunch of guys, right? They're pretty smart. Most of them all had university degrees, engineering, and all that sort of stuff. But it's not the simplest thing to be able to go and start learning, you know, like you just walk into the office and then all of a sudden, there you go, they changed everything on you and you haven't got a freaking clue what you're supposed to be doing. And that's what would have happened in the last office that I was at when I was working in the Middle East. And then it would be everybody, Bob, can you come over here for a minute? Can you come over here for a minute? You know, just steady for several weeks until I get behind on my own thing, and then I just have to close the door on them. But what they used to do is I'd train up a guy, well, not really train him up, I'd help one guy more so than the bulk of them, and that one guy would help another guy, and he was supposed to help the next guy. And then every once in a while I would just see how things were going, and usually everything was going along just fine. And whether it was a new software program or it was a big update for, say, maybe Microsoft Office or whatever, I could get these guys all going again in the shortest period of time possible. So I'm not saying that I was the expert of any kind, but I'm no slouch when it comes to computers. Let us see the moose. So the idea behind the way they do things nowadays It's like as if you had a 1959 Volkswagen, and then all of a sudden you get this new BMW, and you haven't got a freaking clue. You know how to drive, but you just don't know what all to do with all these bells and whistles. Now, of course, I could have stripped everything down to bare essentials, but then that wouldn't be any good for me, because what happens is that I get my wife a new computer or something down the road, and then she'll be bugging me like crazy. So she's my hardest person that I have to show what to do. It can be brutal. And it doesn't matter what it is. Lovely ride back to town here. Well, let's get going. Oh, my arm hurts. So we're going to get the doctor to check out my friggin' shoulder this finally. It doesn't want to move in the right places. Like when I pick up the kettle, I have to make sure my arm is in a certain position, or the kettle, it's like as if you were holding on to a newspaper, or like a rolled up newspaper in your hand, and then all of a sudden somebody turns it into a great big cement block. It just is heavy, and I can't hold on to it. And just, well, whatever. We're going to get him to check it out. Okay, so back to the video. When I make all this video and I got it all stitched together on my computer, that's when I upload it. It's all said and done. And the difficulty comes when I was doing it on the old PC. As an example, an hour-long video would take a good hour to get it off the camera. It would take a good hour to get it in the software. It would take me another hour or two to go through it if I was going to add in a whole bunch of extras like the title and little comments that I post up every once in a while through the video to explain something of what I've been doing. That's an infinite amount of time, so that usually takes me half an hour to an hour to kind of zoom through it, put some extra little bling to it, and then I have to save it. That takes another hour. Excuse me. Then after all that, I get to upload it, and it takes a while. That could take for hours. It used to take hours, actually, all night, when before we figured out what was wrong with my internet connection. So, after I process this today, if I can get an enclosure like a USB drive, then I can get access to my 4 terabyte drive. I can't copy everything over because there's 2 terabytes on there, and on my new computer, it's got two 2-terabyte drives in it. One's an SSD drive for 2 terabyte, and then the other one's another 2 terabyte. And for how cheap these things are, I don't know why Dell didn't put a 4 terabyte or a 5 or a 6 or something like that in there. They're not expensive. Only $150 I think is what I paid for my drive when I bought it for the old computer. Oh well. And going out the door every morning like this, I don't miss working at all. Excuse me, man. Whoa. Should be turning up here somewhere. Unless I missed it, not paying attention. I think it's right here. Got somebody roaring behind me here. And they're home to the big city too, I think. And I don't miss working at all. I do in some respects. It's always nice to get a nice big paycheck once a month. And I especially miss working in the Middle East because I didn't have to pay taxes on the money that I was earning. And when we come back to Canada a couple of times, any of the money that we spent here, we just mail back our receipts, and the government would send me another check for all the taxes to paying me back. But they've since dropped that. And I probably know why. People were getting bills that they didn't have, and they were, there was a big fire down here, a big accident here the other day. Some car lit up on fire. It must be right there. Oh, you don't want to hit. Okay, it's okay that way. Make sure that this clown doesn't get going. This little ski rack thingy on the top. Oh yeah, let's go. There. Just got to be careful I don't get myself into a speed ticket here. Yeah, we'll get the lungs checked out today too. That's one of the problems of the doctor here. He's above my age. He's going to do something for you, and he doesn't do it. So you come back in the next time, and you say, my lungs are still bothering me. Oh yes, I'll do that. And then he checks his records, and he says, oh, I sent it in. But I don't know about that, to be honest with you. Alright, what's going on here now? Must be the annual close the bridge down to one lane again here. No, not yet. Pretty well every summer they close the bridge down to one lane, so they can fix the rotting concrete, or expanding concrete. Come on, boy, let's go. How do you like the news these days? I mean, I don't watch it very often, but the last couple of days I started looking at it. Interesting that Will Smith goes up there and slaps this guy in the face at the Oscars. What freaking bonehead move was that? Talk about drama. Yeah. Should have thrown his butt into jail. Charged him. Give him an appropriate fine for his mega millions. Dude, slap $1 million fine on him for doing that. Now, if he was dirt poor, 6 months of community service, that would have smartened him up. Sure, it's great to defend the wife, but you don't do that in front of a live audience. That's dumb. Oh well. Alright, now we're in the reserve land here. We got to slow down to 70. And the RCMP station, the main branch of it for the area is down in there, off to the left. Down Chapel Street, I would think. We're close to it. There it is. So what's with all the fencing here? But if it's a beautiful day in the neighborhood here, folks. Yesterday was, I think it snowed an inch the first thing in the morning, and it looked like a blizzard out there. And shortly after that, then it started to melt. Today, it's supposed to be sunny. Oh, what have we got here? Somebody hit a deer. Oh. That poor damn thing. Yep, smoked it good. And unfortunately, I don't have anything that I could do to help that thing. Gotta be careful. Alrighty. Well, they're a little bit uneventful for a little bit of drama on the drive here. The amount of deer that get hit on the highways is unbelievable when you start looking at it. That, moose, whatever. The road's going right through their terrain. They were fine before we showed up, but now we have to learn to coexist with them. But when you ask the government to put a fence up or something like that, keep them from running across the road, then they go, well, no, we don't have the money for that, but we're going to get ourselves a nice tax raise, or a paycheck raise. Yeah, whatever. So this is the River Valley route, they call it. It's really scenic. You go all the way to St. John on this. You have to cross the river, I think. And, no, I'm not exactly sure about that anymore either. I think you do. But it's a beautiful ride to St. John, taking this, the river road. And it's not as good as this. It's more of a country road when you get over to the other side. Then they got the Fiddlehead one, they got the Acadian one, there's a coastal one, the Bay of Fundy one. New Brunswick is a very pretty, picturesque province. Somebody's getting themselves a new steel building. And the government sent out a piece of paper saying something about how they want to get farms back into production. Ones that used to be farms. So I'm hoping that there's some kind of an incentive coming to be able to do it, where maybe my son could get himself a tractor and some implements or something like that, start growing something. I'm glad that the farmer came and took the hay off of it last year, and hope he comes back this year. Alrighty. Let's take it easy here because there's a school. Yep, that's open. Just like that. The zone ended. Okay. Come on, boys, let's go. The ears just popped. I should check to see what the altitude is here. And it will tell us shortly. There it is. 137 feet above sea level. And Sheepy Hollow is 800 feet above sea level. I wish I knew some of these back roads here, because I think I could take this one to get up close to where I want to be. But we're just going to have to go the only way I know. I can come back in the other way too, but I think it's further. And as it is now, we should be pretty good. For time, that is, to get in there. And I don't think Costco's open this early in the morning. There, won't be too long to get there now. Geez, that's frickin' bright. And I'm glad I don't work in the city from where we live in, because I'd have to drive into the sun both ways, going to work and coming home. So this, we're doing, kind of driving due east here. We're fairly close to it. It's 8:30 in the morning. Everybody's trying to line up for a cup of coffee. We got coffee shops all over the place. There we go. Oh, another big monstrous building. Ooh, that'd be cold up there working. Not much for 4 lanes around here. Oh, this has got roof. The roof on already. Some people have moved in already. That's an old folks facility off to the right there, called Shannon's. Alrighty. I don't have a good feeling about those computers today. This is where we bought the Jeep. Fairview. They seem to have a good load of vehicles for sale. So it's just up here. A ways, a few miles, is the dentures office. Richie's Carpet Warehouse. There's a bunch of places down here. I'll say one thing about my new computer, it's quiet.